God sent his son. They call him Jesus. He came to love.
Let's grab our basic instructions before leaving Earth, and let's see what the Creator, Father God, has in store for us today. Alright, we're in the book of Lamentations, and there are 5 chapters. And I don't know how long this will take, but I'm going to try to do all of them. So, I'm going to try it. Alright, chapter 1, Lamentation. How doeth the city sit solitude that was full of people? How is she became as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princess among the provenders, how is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen, she findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The waves of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is a bitterness. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy, and from the daughter of Zion. All her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem, remember in the day of her affliction and of her misery all her pleasant things that she had in the day of old, when her people fell into the hands of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversary saw her, and did mock at her Sabbath. Jerusalem has grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her naked. Yea, she sighs, and turneth backwards. Her filthiness is in her skirt. She remembered not her last end. Therefore she came down woefully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things. There we go. For she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. All her people sigh, they seek bread, they have given their pleasant things for meat to receive the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. It is nothing to you, all ye that pass by. Behold, and see if there is any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his furious anger. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate like a faint all day. The yoke of my transgression is bound by my hands, and they are withered, and became up upon my neck. He that hath made my strength to fall, the Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. The Lord hath trodden under foot all my mighty men in the midst of me, and hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. For those things I weep. Mine eyes runneth down with water, because the Comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy prevaileth. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Job, that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is a menstruous woman among them. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against this commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders gave up the ghost in the city, while they sought their meat to relieve their souls. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled. My heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abhorred the sword bereaveth. At home there is a death. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me. For all my transgressors, for all my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Number 2. How hath the Lord converted the daughters of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven into the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the inhabitants of Jacob, and hath not pitied. He hath thrown down in his wrath the stronghold of the daughters of Judah, and hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. I want to go back up here to 2. Talking about his footstool. The earth is his footstool. I don't know if you all know that or not. 3. He had cut off his furious anger, all the horns of Israel. The hewed down back his right hand from before the enemy, and he burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devours the round about. He hath bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. O Lord was as an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed his stronghold. He has increased the daughter of Judah, mourning and lamenting. In lamentation, And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were of a garden. He had destroyed his places of the assembly. The Lord hath caused the solemn feast and the Sabbath to be forgotten in Zion, and hath despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. The Lord has cast off his altar. He hath abhorred his sanctuary. He hath given up unto the hand of the enemy that the walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of the solemn feast. The Lord hath purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He hath stretched out a line. He hath not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he made the rampart and the wall to lament. They languished together. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He hath destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughters of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silent. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgin of Jerusalem hang down their head to the ground. My eyes do fail with tears. My bowels are troubled. My liver is poured upon the earth for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the suckling swan in the street of the city. They say to their mother, Where is corn and wine? When they showed as the wounds in the street of the city, when their soul was poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy branches is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? Thy prophets have been vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thy iniquities, to turn away thy captivities that have been for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughters of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that man call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gash the teeth. They say, We have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have found, and we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled the word that he had commanded in the days of old. He had thrown down and have not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thy adversaries. Their heart crieth unto the Lord, O wall of the daughters of Zion. Let tears run down like a river day and night, and give thyself no rest. Let not the apple of thy eyes cease. Arise, cry out in the night, in the beginning of the watches. Pour out thy heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hand towards him for his life of the young children that faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the woman eat their fruit, and children of a span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie on the ground in the street. My virgins and my young men are fall by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thy anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as in a solemn day, my tender terrors around about, so that in the day of the Lord anger none escape from remain. Those that I have swindled and brought up have my enemies consumed. We're on chapter 3, and I am the man that has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He had led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin had made me old. He hath broken my bones. He hath built against me, and compassed me with gall and travail. Now, gall is, whether you like it or not, it's poop, shit, whatever you want to call it. That's what gall means. Alright, 6. He has set me in dark places, as they that he be dead of old. He has hedged me about, that I cannot get out. He hath made my chains heavy. Also, when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my path crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in a secret place. He hath turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He has bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. He has caused the arrow of his quiver to enter into my rein. I want to go check something out. Okay, do you remember when I did the word mark and I come upon L-A, and I was like, I don't know what that is. It's Lamentations. Duh. Okay, let's go on 13. He has called the archer of his quiver to enter into my ruins. I was Darson, okay, to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stone. He hath covered me with ashes. And thou hast removed my soul far off from peace, for I got prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remembering my affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall. My soul has them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore I hope. It is of the Lord's mercy that we are all consumed, because this compassion fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quickly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke of his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence, because he hath borne it upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust. If so be there may be hope, he giveth his cheek to him that smite him. He is filled with full of reproach, for the Lord will not cast off forever. But though he causes grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercy. For he doeth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause, the Lord appointeth not. Who is he that saith it, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commanded it not? Out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good. Therefore doeth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sin. Let us stretch and try our way, and turn again to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hand unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed and we have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with the anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain. Thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayers shall not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refused in the midst of the people. All our enemies have opened their mouth against us. Fear and a snare is come upon us, desolation and destruction. My eyes runneth down with rivers of water for the desolation of the daughters of my people. My eyes trickle down and cease not without any intermission, till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. My eyes afflicted my heart because of all the daughters of my city. My enemies ceased me score like a bird without cause. They have cut off my life in the dungeon, and cast a stone upon me. Waters flow over my head. Then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thy ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drawest near in the day that I called upon thee. Thou sayest, fear not. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the cause of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. O Lord, thou hast seen my wrong. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance and all their imagination against me. Thou hast heard their reproach, O Lord, and all their indignations against me. The lips of those that rose up against me, and their device against me all the day. Behold, their sitting down and their rising up, I am with their music. Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart that calls unto them. Persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heaven of the Lord. Chapter 4. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stone of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious son of Zion, comparable to fine gold. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They gave suck to their young one. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like an ostrich in the wilderness. The tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the root of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask for bread, and no man bringeth it unto them. They that did feed delightly are desolate in their streets. They that are brought up in the scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughters of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hands stay on her. Her Nazarite were pure than snow, they were whiter than milk, they were more ruby in the body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire, their vintage is blacker than coal. They are not known in the streets, their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered, it is become like a stink. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that slain with the hunger, for those pine away, stricken through for what of the fruit of the field. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. In other words, they were eating their kids. Man. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and hath devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have delivered that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gate of Jerusalem. For the sin of her prophet and the iniquity of her priest, they have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wounded as blind men in the street. They have polluted themselves with the blood so that man could not touch their garments. They cry unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean, depart, depart, touch not. Then they fled away and wandered, and they said among the heathens, They shall no more sojourn there. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respect not the person of the priest, and they favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet filled for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our predecessors are swifter than the eagle of the heavens. They have pursued us upon the mountain. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils and the anointing of the Lord was taken in their pit, of whom we sat under his shadow. We shall live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquities, O daughter of Edom, and he will discover thy sin. Chapter 5. I think it went down. All right. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution or persecution. We labor and have no rest. Boy, that sounds like today. We have given the hand of the Egyptians to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne our iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doeth deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Wow. I didn't know your skin turned black if you get real hungry. But that's what that's saying. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. It's not saying that they were already colored, but it's saying that it turned black. They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the city of Judah. Princes are hung up by their hand, and the faces of the elders are not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. Ooh. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased. Our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is full from our head. Woe, The crown has fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For this our heart is faint. For this things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, rememberest forever thy throne from generation to generation. Therefore, doest thou forget us forever, and forsake us so long time. Turn now us unto thee, O Lord, and we shall be turned. Renew our days as of old, but thou hast utterly rejected us. Thou art very wroth against us. Well, if they would have stayed with Christ, I don't think all this stuff would have happened. But thank you guys for listening. A lot of hugs and kisses to you. Okay, one more thing. We're going to start with Ezekiel tomorrow night. All right. Bye. How to donate to PayPal. You mash on Poor Man's Sewing, and then you come up here and you look for About, and you mash on About, and right here you hit on Donate to Poor Man's Sewing. It's people like you that help me out, and it is really appreciated, and I hope you many blessings in this hard times that we are fixing to go through. A lot of hugs and kisses to you.